Greetings, Ben Murray here. Welcome to another edition of SaaS Metrics School. Hope you're doing well. So today, addressing a reader question that came in this week, and it's an important question, especially for those SaaS companies who offer higher ACV products. So you're targeting mid-market enterprise customers. And this question was, if a SaaS startup has annual contracts, how do you calculate churn each month? Because not all contracts are up for renewal each month. So, what do we do in this case? So, that's a great question because with annual contracts, multi year contracts, if we think about our aggregate revenue retention each month, well, that retention number is, you could say, artificially boosted, maybe because not all customers are up for renewal, especially if you just went through a cohort of renewals and they're locked in for a year or a couple years and looking at that monthly retention, well, they're locked in. They can't churn. They're not available to renew. But of course, I'm always calculating aggregate revenue retention, calculating cohort retention when applicable. But the next thing that we have to calculate if we offer higher ACV products, so targeting mid-market enterprise customers. So say, again, we're offering annual contracts, multi-year contracts, and maybe our ACV is 25, 55, 100, 200K and above ACV, then we need to calculate our renewal rate. And so the renewal rate looks at those customers who are available to churn or available to renew. So their annual contract is coming up for renewal or their 3-year contract is coming up for renewal and they're available to churn. So that's where we're going to track that renewal rate. And it's a nice complementary metric to our retention number. So if we show great gross revenue retention, great net revenue retention, let's calculate renewal rate because it's also most likely going to show great renewal rates that support your retention rates. And you could say these metrics are not leading indicators, right? They're still calculated off of historical data, but I call renewal rate kind of that tip of the iceberg of retention. That's the front lines of what's happening now. So if there are any red flags that are going to pop up on future aggregate revenue retention, because all those renewal rates, what's happening now is going to flow in and impact eventually our aggregate revenue retention. If our renewal rates are going in the wrong direction, well, that's a red flag. So we're going to calculate aggregate revenue retention and renewal rates on a dollar basis and on account basis. And typically we're pulling that data from our CRM system for those renewal opportunities. So we can track that each month. And the month that we track that is the month of their anniversary date. So that's that month where they can either churn or renew with us, and we're counts of customers who renew and count of dollars that renew that are available to renew. So in due diligence, that's going to come up if you offer multi-year contracts. They're going to also ask if you're just showing retention numbers, they're also going to want your renewal rate. And that's come up in due diligence that I've helped with founders. And even in due diligence where they look at a number and say, hey, in May 2023, why was your renewal rate 65% when gross revenue retention annually is 95%? What's going on there? Tell us about that month and what happened with the renewal. It gets that detailed. So there are two nice metrics that go together with retention, renewal rates. And great question from this reader just about if we're locked up, if our customers are locked up in annual contracts. Well, how do we interpret monthly retention? And how do these annual contracts impact that retention? Of course, we're going to then look at our renewal rates. So I want to see if, in that case, if you're offering higher ACV products, that you're tracking customer retention, gross revenue retention, net revenue retention, and also renewal rates in those months where we have contracts up for renewal. So hope that helps clarify between renewal rates, retention rates, and then how we're tracking multi-year contracts. Thanks.